have to update it on Facebook, just Discord?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. All right.
As we wait on Zach, unless Zach is way down. Oh, there's Zach. He's down there in the timeout.
I bet Zach's drunk in a ditch somewhere.
No, he's right there.
Hey. No.
I gussied up for you, Douglas.
You look great. Hold on. We're full screening. Hold on. Look at that. Nice shaved head. Look at that.
Hello.
Wow.
Yes.
Right.
I'm clean.
I love it.
Worry about it too much. If you don't,
A little bit of pledge on that, and you'll really shine that baby.
I
up.
thought you were going to say a little bit of Monica in my life is what you're going to. A little bit of.
JR doesn't know that song.
So,
JR doesn't know that song.
Yeah, no, wait a minute.
Oh my God.
Oh.
What?
it was 96.
I was about to say, JR is 20 years hipper than we thought he was.
That's true.
Still
No,
retroactively.
So you can't see.
I'm a Renaissance man. What can I say?
So you can't see my feet.
Good.
Good.
But
Why the hell would we need to?
Oh,
I got my-
spider
I got-
slippers. Very
I
nice.
got my Spidey slippers on. So
Ryan Reed says, smooth.
Who needs to feed the dog?
that's me.
Matt, what's up, sir? What's going on? Yeah, what dog is barking? What's that sound?
That's my That's my girlfriend's dog. Hang on.
Waylon,
Waylon, shut up.
Wow.
Clarence, like the angel?
Love.
We're like Bruce Springsteen saxophone man, I guess.
Is he beating the dog? What is that sound? What are you doing to that poor dog?
This is Grizzly. Is McNulty not coming?
Yeah, he never replied.
Okay.
That's why I didn't put him in the rundown. Ryan Reed says, my dog needs fed.
Hold on.
Zach, what are you doing to that poor pup? The fans want to know.
He's making dog food out of the dog.
All right, so let me pull up comics or marvel.com.
Hey, are we doing JR since you're here? Are we doing Spider History and Fight Club next Friday?
I thought so on the 15th.
Is that when we're doing it? On the 15th? Or, wait, the 15th, is that a Saturday or a Friday?
Saturday.
Let me look up on my calendar.
Yeah, okay. It's a Saturday the 15th. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't put
Zach
anything on my
wanted-
calendar.
Zach wanted to sit in on that one, but
No.
I said he had to talk to Brad first. You know?
No, I've already
I wasn't going
nice
to sit in
show.
on Fight Club. I was
I've
going to
already-
sit in on history.
I've already
Berryman.
vetoed it.
No,
right.
I was going to sit on history, Berryman, and not on Fight Club.
Well, McNulty's in the chat. That's funny.
Well, we
Actually-
figured that you'd be the apologist for the Clone Saga. You know, I mean, we.
Yeah.
You know, I figure there needs to be some fair and balanced journalism.
Oh, good Lord.
Nah, not really. Hey, Ashley.
Yes.
All right. So the last time when we were on, like a week ago, when we did that commentary, that off the rails commentary,
Yeah.
I had said, Ashley, I would invite you on to the Fight Club, right? The Friday Night Fight.
Right.
Except we already did all the Black Cat fights, but. And it occurred to me this week, I was like, George, how incorrect are you? Not every Black Cat fight involves Spider-Man. So,
Very true.
would you like to come on to
Really?
Friday Night Fights, and we'll do a Black Cat centric
Wait. Hang on.
Friday night? Okay,
What's all
Wait.
that?
later.
Bogey
I'm
knocked
out.
something over.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna like go around and like maybe like bring people on and have them
fun.
do like like JR can do like his favorite Goblin fight,
That'd
and
be really nice.
I'll bring Ashley on, maybe McNulty, maybe Kelly.
Is Zach being photobombed or something?
Yep.
Hi, Sarah.
Sarah, what's up?
Hi,
All right. So Ashley, I was saying,
Okay.
do you want to come on to Friday Night Fights with us one time and highlight a Black Cat fight that you enjoy? Doesn't have to
Sure,
be
that'd be fun.
Spider-Man related. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it set for any Friday in particular right now,
No,
or
no.
is it just kind of up in the air?
Well, technically, we're recording it this upcoming Saturday on the 15th. So I don't even know if that night's good for you. I'm just saying.
I don't know yet, but I'll get back to y'all.
All
It's all,
Enigma wants to know who's Sarah.
Sarah's my girlfriend.
McNulty, would you like
Wait a minute.
you-
Someone is dating Zach. Why? Why?
somebody married
Why?
somebody married you, JR?
Why?
Yeah,
JRSY, yes.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of alcohol was involved then. You know,
God.
JR, I asked her
Alcohol and
last
drugs.
time. I said, if you're being held there against your will, blink 3 times, and she did.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, see, the FBI is still not responding.
Mike, would you like on the show? We have been on a Friday night fight. Mike, would you like on the show? I didn't plan on you being here, but you're welcome.
My
Yeah, he
condolences,
said you
Sarah.
didn't respond to the thing,
Oh,
McNulty.
thank you. No, he's a good one. Y'all have a good one.
Aw, we like Zach. We give him a hard time though. I'm the only one that'll admit it.
Berryman does every once in a while. It's about once in a blue moon.
Well, I do what?
Admit he's a good
I'm
guy.
a good guy every once in a while.
That was your
Yeah.
Christmas gift. I remember George gave it to you last year.
Yeah,
That
there's like a quota. There's like 5 times a year where I try to say something.
Yeah, quarterly.
Right.
Yeah. Plus a bonus one for my birthday.
Nah, let's not get carried away.
Going on 14 people on Facebook and YouTube. That's kind of cool.
Did we even announce this during the week that we were going to do this, Brad?
I did not. I did 30 minutes ago.
There
Yeah,
you go.
Brad's really
Yeah.
good about.
So
about-
they get a notification. Some of them.
I'm just saying, if we actually gave them a heads up during the week, we may get we may get more people tuning in. More people.
Okay.
People are like, I'm gonna use this Friday to go out, pub crawling with
No, they pick pub crawling over us every
with the
time.
lads, right?
Listen,
and then suddenly, 30 minutes they get a notification on their phone. Oh, crawl space is life. If only I had known days earlier,
Oh.
I could have amended my plans, and I could be drinking with my spider bros.
Van Z, this podcast got me into Spider-Man. Thank you, Van Z.
Wow, that's some very high praise.
Really nice. You are not wearing Tony Stark glasses.
I'm doing it just to troll Berryman.
Get the hell out of there.
Oh, was that what I didn't even notice it. I
We
thought you
want
were.
Mike McNulty naked in his bed on the podcast.
I thought you were like a poor man's Elton John. I didn't.
Mike is on a smartphone in bed. He's game. Oh my! This ought to be awkward.
I don't want to see this.
I'm not sure I do either.
I don't want to see a nude McNulty
Oh my!
lounging in
Troll
bed
Space After Dark.
talking about Spider-Man. You know what I like about Spider-Man?
Wow.
The way these pajamas make me
Here, let me
feel
pour me
silk.
some Cavassier first.
And Sarah's on YouTube right now. Saying hi.
Is Jack there, Ashley?
He is. He's making me coffee.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to see him then when he make him
Yeah.
duck down and say hi.
My
We
roommate-
always like to see Jack when Jack's around.
Oh,
There you go, Mike. I sent you the link.
How's the snake doing?
I was about to go check on her. Let me see real quick.
The what?
so Brad, here's my
Red snake.
Ramita.
No,
Spidey
pretty.
hat.
I like it. Mike says I'm not naked. Well, good.
Thank God.
Sarah said it's me. Hi, friend.
So I've been hoping to introduce y'all to the snake today, but she's gone to bed and buried herself under her bedding. So
Aw.
next time.
The new one? You have a new one?
Yeah.
Ah.
It's an adder. I found out. I actually read up on it.
So
Yeah.
Matt,
They're
I,
also called
I
puff
told him
adders.
about
Yeah.
Yeah, I dreamed last night that I went to work for a zoo working with snakes. Weird.
There
You
you go,
belong in
Matt.
a zoo.
Looks like I mentioned it last Saturday that we were doing this today. Well, there you go.
Yeah, Brad did promote it. If you were on
Well,
Patreon.com,
there you go,
Brad.
George.
If you were on the Patreon movie review, the live,
He didn't even remember it. I asked him. He said no.
Well, it's been a few. I slept.
Take your
Enigma,
fish oil pills.
He's a teacher. He's a teacher. You
I
understand?
can relate.
oh, here comes Mike. What are we going to see?
Ah,
Oh, not vertical video. Oh,
Oh my, my.
oh my God. Stop it. Stop it. No.
Brad's been immobilized.
Brad's gonna have a seizure in
Hey,
the corner in a
you're
minute.
poorly lit in vertical video. Hell.
Okay, now in Brad's defense, that should be triggering for anybody who's a reasonable person.
Oh,
It's
God.
true. Hey, Brad, will you give me another Coke?
Oh, Mike. No. Can't do it. Can't do it for 2 hours.
And we can't even hear you,
Can't even hear
McNulty.
Mike. Mike's not even giving me audio.
We can't even
What?
hear him. He's just triggering us with the vertical phone.
Oh, that's better. There you go.
There we
That's
go.
better.
All right,
Mike,
there we
can
go.
you talk?
There he is.
Blink 3
Hey,
times.
Jack. Hey,
Jack.
Jack. What's up, buddy?
Jack.
How
Hey.
you doing?
Who else?
Oh,
Oh, hold on.
Good to see you.
Ashley, do that pose again.
Oh.
There you go.
How's the arm, Jack? How's the arm, Jack?
Getting better. I don't have to wear the cuff anymore.
Well, that's good.
Sounds like Zach's dog.
Are you gonna?
He got neutered today.
Are you gonna stop cage fighting after the injury?
Jack got neutered today?
No.
What is this?
Benji got neutered today.
Oh,
Jack-
Only with a sword.
Jack, are you gonna stop cage fighting after the injury now?
No.
No.
Only with a sword.
She's holding him up like Simba.
It's been here.
Goddamn.
here, let me talk to Mike. Mike,
Zach's girlfriend's funnier than Zach.
Scott?
And again, that's not hard. I mean, I feel like the bar is kind of low as it is.
nothing, Mike. Nothing.
Thanks, guys. Hey, move your hand.
There you go.
I was not
How
flipping
many
you off,
long
babe. I
boxes
was
does
flipping you
JR
off.
have in the background? JR, you've got 16. That's it. You've been collecting since late 1900s.
Yeah, I know, but I stopped.
I mean, the early
there.
at 1900s. The late would be 1990s.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
I was
Brad.
born in the
Sorry.
late 1900s.
I too was born in the late 1900s.
I joke.
I
Die.
remember those days.
JR's old enough to remember when Singer stopped making sewing machines and started making rifle parts in World War II.
We knew 17 says Ashley and Jack. Hello from Billy.
Oh, hey, Billy.
Hello, Billy.
Enigma. Who dat, Sarah?
What?
Who dat is what
Who dat?
Enigma says.
Like Who Dat Nation or just Who Dat?
My dog, I think
Okay.
is what he's referring
Okay.
to.
Matt says I saw.
Bye, Jack.
Benjamin Riley Joyner.
Goodbye.
Want to say your interview with Matt Singer was divine. Thank you, Matt. I enjoyed that.
I listened to a third of it. I haven't listened to the rest of it
It
yet.
turned out pretty good. I liked it. He was a good guy. That book's really cool. Ryan Reed.
And Dude,
Oh,
I mean, he gave you a free copy. I mean,
he did. I mean,
Ashley,
Yes.
I want to say since you and Jack have upgraded your internet,
Yes.
yes.
man, it's just remarkably better.
it is.
Like,
It really
I'm
is.
on that.
What
It's because
you
I'm
can
on a
move back and
computer
forth
now and not a 5-year-old Chromebook.
Is that
That's
why?
only meant to last a year.
I mean, like we can actually like before is like like
Yeah,
you would usually freeze and there'd be a lot of stuttering.
Yeah.
You look crystal clear now. It's like
It
all
looked
Ashley.
like what the video in ASM 2 should have looked like.
Yeah, it looks like Richard Parker. You know, you went from Richard Parker quality to like 4K.
Exactly. Good job there, Barry.
Hey, let's try to get Mike's audio going. Mike, talk again.
I like him, Mike, aka Still a Nerd and Not Naked. There you go. Way to sell it.
Nope, still no audio, Mike.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all, buddy.
So you're
I haven't
gonna
even
have to
heard.
go to
I haven't even heard a clip.
We haven't heard your
He's
voice at
still
all.
going off. I can't hear him.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
That's what's wrong too.
Why is that your go-to? You do that like
That
every
is not his go-to.
half hour. I feel
What's his
like.
go-to?
Good
That's
go-to.
not his go-to.
Solid.
You want to know his go-to?
Is it? Wait a
Not
minute.
really.
Is it the cover of Simon and Garfunkel's Cecilia that Times
Ooh, I
2
like
did
that
back in the 80s?
No, it's a hit.
Celia.
Old school hit.
Oh, what a
That's-
friend we have.
Oh,
Oh, so you stole? So your go-to is what you stole from me?
Yes,
Wow.
Oh,
I'll admit it. I stole.
oh,
it from you.
That's mine.
information.
Enigma says, "Greetings, Jr."
Yes, I said greetings, Enigma.
Okay.
Here's the problem, though, Barryman, is like right after you started using that phrase, I go to Church of Christ, so we use old hymnals, and so guess what? It started popping up in church randomly.
As it should.
You know,
That's God's will.
exactly.
Whoa. Jr. is going to get an ego. Spider history is still the best part of the show. Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Sound just.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
Mercy.
Freaking sound bar.
Well, Mike, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Thank you,
I'm glad you're not naked, but I wish I could hear you. There's a quote.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all.
I'm
Mick.
glad this is what my
Hornacek,
audio
Hornacek,
came
where
back
are you?
into.
You know, Hornacek, I got a bone to pick with Hornacek.
Hornacek quoted us this week on the message board.
Did he really?
He did, man.
missed
He
What?
did.
What?
it. Hang on. To the crawl space I go.
Now Mike is in witness protection. Look at that.
Mike,
Mike,
aka Deep Throat.
you're killing me.
I mean,
Can you go back to your desktop? Mike?
helped the impeachment trial there, George, would have been a deep throat.
Oh my god.
This is like watching the Aha video, watching McNulty here.
That was like one of my favorite music videos.
Take on me.
I'll be after the Needless to say,
I remember that song back in the day because there was only a certain octave I could go up to, and I couldn't finish because I had testicles. So I couldn't go any higher. I'm like, I can't.
Listen, I was a tenor, and there was some old hymnals that I had to develop that head voice.
We can hear somebody. I'm getting us from somebody. Okay, now I don't hear us anymore.
All right, hang on.
I kind of like this view, don't you guys? It gives us a tighter shot.
I don't know. I just wish you'd pick one.
No, I'm just
You're giving me motion sickness for crying out loud.
Don't you guys like this shot as opposed to that shot?
The only thing about that, the wide shot, is you don't see the back. The close shot, you don't see the background.
Yeah, but we're the most important thing.
I mean, especially me and JR in the middle.
Yeah. Thing is, though, the glare from three bald heads is kind of distracting.
And let's remove him from the.
Wow. Wow.
And now you're on the bottom row, you smart ass.
Oh man! And now
George has a downstairs neighbor
Brad,
that.
Hey, Brad, you need to update the logo down here in the corner.
Why?
Because didn't you have the white one specifically for?
Well, I can do that, or I can do. Let's see.
Let's start the damn show.
I know I can do this up with Ashley over there.
Why do we have it on there twice?
No, I'm going to take one off. I could do that, or I could do that. What do you guys like?
I like that right there.
Ashley, do you like that?
She likes to hold it.
Ashley,
Oh, it's like a
like
mirror.
the spider logo by your head?
No.
I'm giving you a duck.
No, don't get. Oh my god!
And there's
Wow, look at the time. We're
the black
it's gonna be 2:00 in the morning. We're gonna be wondering why we went so long.
She snorts with the duck. She's got the black headphones, or she's got the white headphones.
Give me a cherry.
Which one you want, Ashley? White headphones, black headphones, or a duck?
Oh my god!
You really want to put that decision in my hands because I'm going.
Not the duck.
100%.
Okay, we don't
I
look.
know.
We're very appreciative of the StreamYard people.
Oh yeah.
But now that McNulty's gone, you can put it back in the corner.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay.
Oh, we haven't started.
There we go. Now let me get rid of this.
Oh my goodness.
There we go.
Elmo loves the snorts. It's just the best.
Oh my god!
We aren't even.
I'm gonna freak out if we don't start.
Citrus, is JR's wife still an evil mastermind?
Wait, is he from Hero Realm?
Mastermind.
I object to the use of the term mastermind. That is that's a stretch.
Now, is he a Hero Realm guy?
Who? Oh, Citrus.
Citaros?
I don't know.
Citaros?
Hey, gang! Besides Spider-Man, what is your each best independent company comics that you like? Oh my god!
Glow.
Like
What
what
is it?
comics?
What is it, Ashley?
Oh, I guess just indie company comic books, and I don't know.
Like
IDW counts, right? Right. Glow. My answer is always Glow.
Oh, okay.
If I can go Glow, there's no glowing back.
Oh my
Citrus
god!
says he usually just lurks. Bob Jones, what's up? Friday night. Ryan Reed.
oh man, Hornacek gives an explanation as to where he's
Jack
been.
Jack, come back. You're being requested. Get back.
I am back.
There. You have fans.
You have summoned me.
Ryan Reed says, "What's up, Jack?"
Hey. I came back
Nick,
today.
I'm going to start a petition to get Mike to take it off. Who's signing? Not my ass.
Jack, while you're here, make Brad start the show.
McNulty says that was
Hey,
a
buddy, get on it.
moving to the headset now. That was a disaster, Mike. Well, we don't have any iTunes reviews. I can't do that until Mike hops on.
Why?
Well,
George having a smoke bear.
You could still do the iTunes reviews. McNulty's in the chat.
No, I said I don't have any iTunes reviews, so we would instantly start the ASM.
Oh.
Let's give Mike a couple minutes, and then we'll start if we can't get him. MM0. Oh, there he is. Speak of the devil. Boom. There you are.
Hey,
sure,
you
yeah.
hear me now?
He's out of witness
No,
protection.
it's not. It's not. Change your settings to your headset.
Yeah, change your mic.
Oh,
It's like Zach.
me up still? Oh, man.
Hey, wait a second.
Is it still not? Isn't you're not getting? Hold on.
No.
It's probably in your StreamYard settings
Enigma
Oh,
says.
there we go.
where it says cam mic. It'll let
Yeah.
you pick your mic. Yeah, you need to switch it over to
Enigma
your.
to George. What's up, my man?
Hey, Enigma.
So now I'm in the corner.
Spectacular Mike.
And-
Who gives a crap?
Hmm.
Why are you
You
so?
can't even hear me at all. That's
Not
crazy.
really.
No, we can hear. I mean, you sound like it. Like
Sound
it's
like
coming
awful.
through your. It sounds like it's coming through your webcam microphone.
Yep.
Switch
Oh,
it over
is
to
it-
your. Switch it over to your head cam microphone and StreamYard.
So,
There's a
hold on.
cam/mic setting. It looks
Yeah,
like a
I
little
see.
here. If you click on there and then go to, if you go to audio, there will be a selection on there where you can choose your headset mic, and then
I feel like
switch it
Barry
off of your webcam onto your headset. You'll sound normal,
Is that
Hello
I
to
feel like
Brad,
Barry-
Ashley,
and then
Zach,
we can start the goddamn show.
and
Is
take
it
it
like
off the
Barry
mic.
or not?
doing like
Is that
No,
or
it's
not?
still coming through your. No, it's still
Okay,
coming.
so-
It's still through your webcam.
How about that setting?
There we go. There we go. There we
Okay.
go. Okay.
Good.
Let's.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Who the hell just left? Zach's
My
done.
PC
What the
has
hell?
been acting up. Hold on. You don't want to see my closet like that.
better than your.
The show's never going to start, George.
No, I'm screwed.
Microphones, you gotta love them sometimes when they decide not to work for you. There comes Zach. There we go.
I don't know what
All
the-
right, we ready? Here, let me
Yeah.
screen.
Sorry about that, folks. I just kind of like
I didn't know you were coming, and then you were in
Well,
bed.
yeah.
and you didn't have clothing on.
Well,
and
I've
I'm
been
like,
having-
no.
I've been kind of having kind of a down kind of week and everything. It just so it's been
Sorry.
kind of chaotic. And no, it's fine. I mean, I was like thinking, oh, I'll just I didn't I thought I thought just said, well, I said George put a like, and then you just go come on, like I can do the same, and I'll get back to you later, and it just never got back to you.
Why do
And
I
then
remind you? of
Well, I'd
Ben?
already told him I was going to be around. That's the thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I just got up from a nap, so but that's okay. So 'cause
Ryan
it's-
Reed says this is taking as long as it is to get rid of Teresa Parker.
no
Ooh,
doubt,
It
right?
really is. It really is. It
I
really
agree.
is.
Look, it's JR has the logo on his shirt.
Oh my
Look at
God. Jesus Christ.
Well, that's
All right,
kind of
coming
appropriate since
down.
he's a senior member.
Actually, it
Okay.
kind of looks like a crystal ball or whatever. I feel like
Yeah.
Crystal.
All
I
right, coming down in
project that
three.
in 10 years, Brad will still be bald. Ooh.
so William started the show.
He's done. Okay. There you go.
Oh, there he goes.
All right. Oh, now
He's back.
Mike's got the crystal
No.
ball. Coming
Hey,
down
I don't mind.
in 3, 2. Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to our ASM review show. Let's introduce the panel. George, get off my lawn. Behrman is in the house. What's up,
Thank-
George?
Thank God.
All right. Ashley's in the house. What's up, Ashley?
Hey.
JR's in the house. What's up, sir?
Well, what's up is the hair on the top of my head because I still have some even at my age.
10 years later, he's still making hair jokes. I love it. You should be in a musical or something called Hair. Insult. Zach Spidey Dude Joyner in the house. What's up?
Hey, it's good to be here. It's good to be talking about some Spider-Man comics.
No doubt. And we have Mike, a.k.a. Plug in the Microphone McNulty.
That sounds
Yes.
dirty.
I am finally up after taking a rest after building a cabinet this afternoon, which is
Cabinet maker. Oh, my.
well, yeah, because what I do is I basically a little hobby of mine that basically I do like basically refurbish wine barrels. So
cool.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to review 2 comics on this episode. The latest issues of Amazing Spider-Man. We've got ASM 838 and 839. That's right, isn't it? Yes, that's right.
I would think so.
Let me share my screen, and you guys can see.
We have
the cover.
Amazing Spider-Man. What is
Trending
it?
in the universe. Is that what
No,
it is?
I thought we had. For some reason, I thought we were going to have 3 issues tonight, Brad.
I,
No, we
I
only
did
have the
too.
two.
Here we go.
I thought there was going to be one issue coming out this week, but I guess not, because I guess it's supposed to be next week. Since
You know what? I meant to get this up on Comixology because they give you a preview of the first couple pages. So let me.
Yep.
There it goes. There it goes.
You know, Brad didn't have 30 minutes to prepare.
Zach, not to kick you out.
I just was making an observation, Douglas.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. Who's got this issue? This is a Stegron. Who else am I going to give it to? George, take me through.
Well,
838, please.
it's a Stegron, but it's not a Stegron.
Well, it's got some references to your man.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 838, Nick Spencer, Ryan Otley, the Dream Team
Yeah.
right now.
Team A.
No
Team
doubt.
A.
All right, so after his show gets interrupted by douche bro shock jocks Chet and Chet, Jonah catches up with Nora Winters, who comes back from. What was the last time we saw Nora? I feel like the last time we saw Nora, she was talking about Randy's dong. How long is
Nora
it?
Winters actually appeared earlier in the series. Is this she came up to J. Jonah Jameson with a job proposal. I think I want to say way back in like issue 7
Really?
of this of Nick Spencer's. Yeah, she showed
Yeah.
up very early.
Yeah. Remember
Yeah,
because
but-
you had lowered it like a part of a letter grade because Nora showed up.
So I
Yeah, 'cause
did, or Mike did.
I don't know. Maybe I
George
don't
did.
know who.
I don't think
I
I,
think-
did because I don't. Nora's one of the few things that I don't mind as badly from the brand new verse.
Well, that's because she's an actual character for one thing.
Yeah.
That's
But
because
yeah, it's been
that's
a
She was
long
always more
time.
interesting than Carly Damn Cooper. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it's been a long time since she showed up because Spencer had put a lot of his plots in the back burner thanks to stuff like absolute garbage. Absolute carnage and all that great stuff.
All right, so Jonah catches up with Nora Winters, who makes a sales pitch to him about joining a new BuzzFeed-esque clickbait news site, soon to be referenced by Spider-Man Crawl Space.
Oh, I was trying to beat it to Cosmic Book News or whatever that is.
After Nora points out how far Jonah has fallen from his journalistic beginnings and how much the news site's supposedly worth, Jonah, starts to consider, the potential of her offer. Meanwhile, Spider-Man is considering the potential of using the clairvoyant device to get ahead of threats. And after consultation with other heroes, does precisely that to help combat a building fire, a bank robbery by villain wannabes, and a Stegron bio attack of some kind. It's turning people into dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Now there's a 6-issue limited series. How come that doesn't happen? How come I get all these douchey, like miniseries, and if you're a symbiote, you can get any damn thing.
So in other words, where's Stegron's last hunt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What
right?
about symbiote Stegron?
Yeah, no, Ashley.
I found the limit.
Wow. You have found a limit. That's funny.
Ashley, we're done professionally.
What are you, Christian
How
Bale?
about
We're done professionally.
the last Stegron on Earth or something like that?
I'm gonna make it happen.
Let me count off all the friends I have named Ashley. All right. So with the clairvoyant's help, Spidey manages to carve out enough time for a FaceTime date night
Come on.
with Mary James, so they can watch Janet Van Dyne's Extreme Supervillain Makeover together.
That seems like a Marvel Universe TV show. I could see that.
If the Marvel Universe is a shadow of our actual universe, yes, we would absolutely have that kind of jackassy show.
I would
The
agree.
Marvel Universe. But
I'd watch it.
But as he's, of course you would, but as he's having his FaceTime date with Mary Jane, which is very sweet, he shows up, he's got flowers, he's got candy, junk food, and he's going to watch this thing. And then he just, he did so much to try to get ahead of all these threats using the device that it wore him out.
Yeah.
And he just passes right out. Elsewhere, Kindred, frustrated, impotent, and angry by inaction, and eager to move his plans forward, resurrects the Sin Eater. That's your issue.
Okay.
Oh.
What's your grade, sir?
I gave this one a B+.
Okay. Ashley?
This is an A for me.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun with it.
JR?
I gave it a B-.
Zach?
This is an A-.
Mike?
I'll give it about a B.
I'm with Mike. It's not awesome. It's not horrible. It's
No,
above,
it's just-
above average, I would think.
Yeah, it's just a nice way to catch up to things, basically.
Much better than 29.9, wouldn't you agree, George?
Yeah.
For the last story.
Well, I mean, the last story it ended on a good note, and I like the way that Spidey and Lila interacted with one another.
Mhm.
But I mean, aside from that, it kind of felt like it was just sort of jammed into all these things that it normally wouldn't have been jammed into.
So, what's your pros, George?
All right, I love the Peter and MJ stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
I love the Peter and MJ stuff, and I'm going to go even further out because I was thinking about this today because in our Discord, Adam was pointing out all these tweets that JMS had made about the marriage and how much he enjoyed the marriage, and it wasn't his idea to get rid of the marriage. And I've said here on the podcast many times, while I have my issues about the JMS run in toto, right, in total, because there were some misfires.
In totems, you mean?
There were yes and no. Shut up, Zach. Okay. But no, I mean, yeah, there were some misfires. But the one thing that he did better, I think, than anyone else up to that point, other than other than Tom DeFalco and Spider Girl, was write the marriage well.
Absolutely. Yep.
And that for me will always be JMS's hallmark of his time on Spider-Man was how well he wrote the marriage and how well he wrote the marriage and how well he wrote Aunt May also.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. Aunt May.
Yeah, Aunt May. And I'll go even further here, and I'll say that Spencer now is starting to get up there for me because Spencer, every bit as much as JMS, I think understands the importance of these two being together.
Yeah. And
Spencer, everything about them feels organic. I have had FaceTime dates with long distance chicks before.
No.
Like that's an actual thing. I was reading this and I was like, oh my God, look, I identify with the character. Or whatever, all the things I was saying I've never needed to for the last 40 something years of Spider fandom. But yeah, I mean, so I love all of the Peter and MJ stuff that Spencer gives us, especially when it's Spencer and Otley.
Yeah.
The clairvoyant device is interesting. It's going to be a monkey's paw at some point.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, this thing has monkey's paw and neon written all over it.
I mean, it's almost like what happened with the not to disparage you, trigger you, George, but it's like a Civil War II. Like, what could possibly go wrong with like
Too late, you've disparaged me.
Yeah, I mean, but this is actually kind of sounds like it might actually be done more competently in a sense than that series was.
It's just too good.
Yeah.
There's going to be a price to pay.
Oh, sure. No
is
doubt.
the thing. And I think we're hinting at that because he's already worn out.
So
Right.
we've got Peter and Mary Jane. That's your big pro. Any other pros, George?
Yeah. So the clairvoyant thing is interesting. Spidey consulting with other people about the device.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from seeing Iron Man in here, because why? It's seeing Iron Man in my Spider-Man comics now is like seeing a turd in my Cocoa Puffs. I don't want it in there. All right. I like that
home reaction. I don't want that there.
Or a baby Ruth in your pool, like in Caddyshack,
I like the different reactions. I like seeing Felicia's reaction, and she's like, "Oh, that's interesting." So where'd you say you were keeping this thing? Where is this thing? I like Daredevil's reaction. I like Man Thing's reaction.
He just doesn't even say anything.
And,
he just
but I love Captain America's reaction, and it really rang true with me about Captain America and how he's always respected Spider-Man.
That's true. That's true.
So I really did like him saying, this sounds like a big deal. If there's anyone I trust, to use this responsibly, it's you. I was like, yep, damn right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I liked that part, and I said it earlier. I don't mind Nora, the way I do Carly Cooper. Nora's least interesting. She was always more interesting than Carly was because she wasn't a forced editorial mandate love interest.
She was just a racist.
Yeah.
Nora's had her moments, man. I mean, she really has. But that's the thing. I mean, she's interesting. She's layered. There's facets of this character.
It's almost as if Joe Kelly actually tried to make her something other than a cardboard cutout.
And you can say politically incorrect things through Nora, and I like that about the character.
Mm-hmm.
You really can, because that's Nora, right? So yeah, those are my pros.
Real quick, one person in YouTube chat said, Terry James, to be honest, the Dinosaur Man doesn't fit as a Spider-Man villain. Rebuttal, George?
You mean he's a D-list villain that's not that cool?
Oh,
I mean, he is pretty cool. I mean, we've already established.
When are
time
dinosaurs
and time
not
again.
cool?
dinosaurs.
Yeah,
no
when are
kidding.
dinosaurs not cool?
It is-
Plus,
Especially a half man,
Yes.
half dinosaur.
Yeah, if you can
Yeah.
have a half man, half lizard, why
symbiote.
can't you have a half man, half dinosaur?
stuff
I mean,
that
sure.
Stegron's never done. Get killed and turn into a bag of flour. Have time beating a jackass in a green hairy suit. There you go.
Mhm.
All right,
you
now
go.
that we're done with that. So those are my pros.
At least there's more. There's more than a legion of one of Stegron fans.
Matt says 100% agree with George on Spencer's understanding that the marriage is beyond warp speed fantastic.
Mhm.
Citros, when are dinosaurs not cool? One word, Barney. Oh,
That is
Already
true.
be cool if Stegron got a hold of him.
That is true.
Someone
Ryan says he's got a tale that Spider-Man can't escape. Okay, let's open it up to the pros. What
We just did pros.
yeah, from you, we're opening
Oh,
up to the
yeah.
panel now. So
I'll
let's
go ahead and start
bad.
because George ended with one of the things I wanted to touch on. But that one page we have with everyone's reactions from we have Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Captain America. I thought it was a really great juxtaposition with what we'd seen in Slot's run with how the Avengers and other superheroes treated Spidey versus how he's treated in Spencer's run. Was
Exactly.
Slot, he was always treated as, bumbling, incompetent, always on grating on everyone's nerves and on the readers. But here it's like they actually acknowledge him and remember everything that he has done and is capable of, and they respect him. What a concept.
Also, they're limited to one panel.
Mhm.
Nice, or one page if you get them all together.
Yeah, we got 9. We got 9 panels. We got a Ditko standard here.
I'll say this also about it. I was worried about Spencer's characterization of Spidey in the Marvel Universe after the first issue. It kind of seemed like that he was carrying over, at least on its face, the way Slott was writing him. But since then, I've seen how much it's improved with Spencer and his standing in the Marvel Universe.
Mhm.
So I'm with Ashley. I think it is a highlight of this issue.
One other pro, I think there's actually two ones I think we need to touch on. One is Otley's art again.
Yeah,
is very
great.
solid in this. The other one is sort of I don't know if you would necessarily call it a cliffhanger or not with with Kindred and the Sin Eater.
Do you guys like the Sin Eater coming back again?
It's almost as if he listens to this show.
Mm-hmm.
Because how many times, George, have you talked about like that era with Peter David on Spectacular in the 80s?
Well, it was cool because after we did our commentary the other night, at one point we talked about the Sin Eater. I don't remember in what context,
right?
But the Sin Eater came up at one point, and I had said, because I mean everyone who's a big Spider-Man fan and knows Spider-Man's history, who's read the Sin Eater, I've never seen somebody who goes, boy, did that suck, right? That's pretty much, it's universally acclaimed.
Oh yeah, the
and-
Who Killed Gene DeWolf story.
Yeah,
is
and so
classic mystery
I
thing,
went
yeah.
back and I hadn't reread those issues in like several years, and I went back and reread those this week, and I last time we were talking about it, I said, yeah, and there's that double splash page of Gene DeWolf dead. It's not a double splash page; it's just one panel. I think in my mind, because it was so big,
Yeah,
that's just how I remember it. Like it was larger than life. Like that's how it was. It was so.
it was a single page
jarring.
splash, wasn't it?
No,
Yep,
it was a little box on the page.
Wow, I
really?
remember it being a one-page splash. That's
No,
funny.
I thought I remembered it as a double splash page. It's not. It's like
That's Rich Butler, I think,
like
who
half
passed
the
away. I
page or a
think.
quarter of the page.
Yeah,
It's not.
You know,
That's crazy.
if you're gonna like if Marvel Studios won't do this. One of the reasons I think Daredevil worked better as a Netflix show is because it was episodic, and you could actually make New York a character. With Spider-Man, I feel like if you were to go down that route, this would be one of the Sin Eater would be one of those stories you want to adapt.
You could do a Sin Eater in a Spider-Man TV show like episode. You couldn't do Sin Eater in a Spider-Man movie.
It might be, yeah, but Sin
Right.
Eater would be a little bit more for like I think for a mature,
That's
more
what I'm
mature
saying. You could
audience.
do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
not for
a series.
Theory about why Sin Eater is back. He says Sin Eater is coming back. I bet you Spencer is up to something involving the 7 sins. Which sin does Carter represent? Just a fan theory.
Wrath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
That's pretty good.
But no, because also because I know my Catholicism. But the other thing is too is it does definitely, that ending also fuels a lot more theories about who the heck is Kindred. Is this actually the Sin Eater, or is it some kind of another grand illusionary thing and all this other stuff? I mean, it's just, because every time you think you know who Kindred might be, he does something, he or possibly she does something that makes you kind of question exactly what or who this person might be, and what their, how, whether they what their abilities are, or whether or not they are who they say they are, and it's just like kind of like, so it keeps us kind of like, so just the fact that you're supposedly they're seeing the return of the Sin Eater out of this is kind of keeps you even more guessing even more and all this stuff. So I think that's just, so although you're kind of wondering, okay, supposedly we're going to get more into the Kindred stuff later on in like the summer, apparently, from based on some solicitations, it does kind of get you a little bit more intrigued about what the heck's going on here. So
JR, I haven't heard any of your pros. What did you like? You gave it the lowest grade of all of us, I think, a B-. What did you like?
But that's pretty good for me. I mean, usually I give things C's because they're just usually pretty average to middling. This was inoffensive. Okay, but talk. I actually like the Sin Eater tease at the end in a way, because it reminded me of the good old days when cliffhangers were like, wow, what is this? I have to get next issue.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that leads into a con of the next issue. But I mean, I like that. Yeah. Although the Sin Eater, I think though, is one reason I think he's a memorable villain beyond the fact he's starting a classic story is that he hasn't been used. I mean, he was used in that one story, and then Peter David, the guy who created him, brought him back for the purpose of showing us what it would be like for someone to truly be beaten near to death by a superhuman.
Yeah.
And then how he how he tries to readjust to society and just fails. He can't do it, so he decides to commit suicide by cop. I mean, I think if Sin Eater comes back other than part of some kind of plot by Kindred, I mean, if he's really back to stay back, I think that would be a big mistake.
He's got a one shot coming up. I saw that. There's a Sin Eater one shot coming up written by Spencer. So
yeah, I think that's a mistake. But then again, I've been wrong about a lot of things.
Now, correct. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe because Zach, you are our clone expert. Was Sin Eater brought back during the Clones Conspiracy or not? Was he one of the villains in that whole group shot?
I don't recall him in the background.
That issue? That in there reference to being brought back?
Hang on.
Yeah, because I mean, I would think because I don't know if he was one of the ones included in that.
I think I've got it on Comixology. Let me go to my books and see.
Okay,
because I don't recall it, because he really would have stood out if he had been. I mean, because I'm thinking, I remember like what was Massacre. I remember Massacre being in that group and stuff, but I think if the senior had been in it, I think he really would have stood out. So I don't think he was there. But
you notice that Kindred says some like Doctor Strange kind of spells: contrition, confession, penance, absolution.
No, I don't think that's a spell. I think
you don't think it's a spell.
No, okay. I think he's just monologuing.
But again, if we're assuming that I think they're trying to make us just think that Kindred is actually some kind of demonic thing. I still have my doubts about that. I think this is all literally smoke and mirrors, and that this is and this is all like a kind of elaborate thing. I mean, including what the senator might be. I don't think because I'm still kind of on the idea that this is all some kind of but then how does Kindred go into Peter's dreams and everything? It's just like
Devil Breaker in YouTube chat says, wasn't Sin Eater in absolute carnage? Eddie Brock destroyed his corpse. And Terry says a new Sin Eater did fight Venom. I remember that miniseries. Yeah.
Since we're talking about Sin Eater, I did like that because after having reread the Sin Eater stories this week, I did like that Daredevil also appears in this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's just that brief glimpse, because Daredevil tied into that story. Daredevil was the one who pulled Peter off of the guy.
I remember him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh no! Here's a theory: Kindred is Judas Traveler.
Oh no!
Adam Winchell.
Why would
you do that?
I'm the biggest clone fan.
You hate Judas too, yeah.
And I hate Judas Traveler. I think he's just awful.
Oh yeah. I have an idea. I think I have an idea who Kindred might be, though.
Who? Go ahead.
Traveler.
Let's hear your theory.
Oh, when I posited this in the Discord chat, people were thinking, "Oh, you're crazy." I know some folks think it's Harry Osborn. I'm thinking it's Squeezy Bake.
Who?
The Gwen Stacy clone.
The Gwen Stacy clone from the Clone Conspiracy.
Squeezy
Bake.
Squeezy Bake.
Boy, that would be a letdown.
Wait a minute.
That would be, I hope Spencer does watch this because he can hear that, because Spencer, if that's true, boy, would that be a letdown.
No, are you talking about Gwen Stacy, the Jerry Conway clone? She was shot.
No. The one from Clone Conspiracy.
The clone from Clone Conspiracy. You remember the whole thing? Supposedly when she was brought, quote unquote, brought back.
Oh.
And so basically would also explain why Kindred looks the way he does.
I know it's hard to remember because most of us have put Clone Conspiracy out of our heads because it was so dreadful.
I hope that's wrong, Mike. I really do.
I really hope that's wrong.
I know but again,
I pray that's wrong.
If you think about it, some of the stuff that Kindred says when she's talking to Norman Osborn and Stealth, and vice versa, could kind of apply to Gwen, sort of.
Let's not even think about it.
Actually, any other pros that we didn't hit up? I haven't heard from you about pros. Anything we didn't mention?
I've been finding, like, with Spencer's run so far, I really light up whenever Jameson's featured in a story. I just really love his take on him. It's just every time I see him in an issue, I'm like, I know it's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, you get to review the next issue, so
I do
a lot of Jameson. Real quick before we wrap it up on this issue. We
haven't done cons on this issue.
Oh, that's right. Let me get.
There are
here. Man, there's so many YouTube chats, which is a good thing. Something about Stegron isn't a Spidey threat. He's a worldwide threat. If Stegron's world and we're all just living in it after all, says Austin.
Austin, very, very, very cogent. Very, very wise. Very,
thank you, Mike, for making me have to go relive Clone Conspiracy briefly.
You're very welcome, Zach.
Signature was not in the first tour that Anubis Check gave Peter, because he kept giving Peter tours.
Oh, that's right.
The story, because exposition and slot, and
he wasn't there. That's very interesting.
Now the assassin from last arc was in fact there.
Yep, he was. Hitman was in there. I do remember that.
So that's when you're talking about the Clone Conspiracy reclone Gwen. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yep. That's who I was.
Man, I hope that's wrong.
But
a couple other things on YouTube chat. Let me hit these up. Vinkman says, I'm still on the fence about dropping ASM for good. I've been collecting Spider-Man for 25 to 30 years, but I'm feeling burnt out and I'm just buying it for completion's sake. JR, you've been down that road several times.
Yeah, more than once, and I'm in another one of those phases right now.
Really? Why are you thinking about dropping it? You don't care about the Kindred storyline or what?
Well, we're going to get it. We were going to get into cons. So I was going to say that, but I'm tired of comics, period, to be honest. I mean, it's hard to get it's one, they're too expensive. They're just, I'm ridiculous. It's like, I'm tired of paying $4 for something that doesn't even last as long as a crap, and wow. And it's like, flip and it's gone, or, you buy 4 comics and you've spent $20. I don't like that. And then really, I mean, even, and I agree with everybody that Spencer's run is certainly far preferable than anything we've had in the last 10 years or more.
Yeah.
But the problem is, anytime it starts to build up a head of steam, we have a crossover or an event or something. And I mean, and this is not just it's like. And frankly, I just miss Spider-Man's comic being about Spider-Man and Peter Parker's friends. I'm tired of the rest of the Marvel Universe showing up in any capacity. Except other than the Fantastic Four, which I kind of feel is the closest thing he's got to a superhero family, and that was one of my pros. I like Johnny, Johnny with his typical depth of a puddle. It's like, we could use that to play pranks on Ben.
I get what you're saying, JR, but like in this capacity, in this issue with the one page just of the reactions, is that acceptable?
Well, I don't know, but in general, though, in general, I just don't feel that a Spider-Man comic is about Spider-Man anymore. And like for example, I don't know what the heck's going on in the what is it called, Friendly Neighborhood now? But it just reminds me of the old days when the second Spider-Man title was always clearly inferior. And I mean, who cared about the orange people? What was the whole thing with the orange people? So I'm just kind of comics just aren't comics as a whole. It's the industry has worn me out.
Well,
and really.
So JR's advice to Venkman is drop it.
Yeah, Venkman, keep what money you have left, keep what youth you have left, and go get a girlfriend.
Venkman's on the ledge, and JR says jump.
Jump.
I totally get where you're coming from, JR, with some of this. I mean, I think it's one of the things that's hampered about Spencer's run is because I think we would have gotten an issue like this much earlier had we not had a bunch of crossovers coming in, especially and I think even comics in general in terms of the Marvel, I mean, really the only thing right now that seems to be of any interest is what's going on in the X-Men books. But even then, you got to get a bunch of them to kind of figure out to get the whole picture. But everything else just seems like it's kind of
the problem with the X-Men books right now is the same problem that the X-Men books have always had.
Yeah,
there's too much on the market.
Yep.
There's so much that you have to pick up.
Yep.
And it's very different. I mean, yes, you might have a jumping on point, but I'm sorry, I can go pay $9.99 a month from Marvel Unlimited or $60 a year. And and
the expansion of that X-Men line is incredible. It's just nuts. Like, who's going to buy that?
Well, yeah, that's what's the problem.
It's 90s level.
Yeah.
Of expansion.
And that's what I think the problem is right now with going on this. I mean, yeah, you might have some interesting stuff going on, but then you have to buy multiple stuff in order to kind of get a full picture. And I'm hoping that Spider-Man doesn't go this route. I mean, granted, I know there's people who like, for instance, the Amazing Mary Jane and all that everything like this, but at the same time, you still kind of have to get a fuller, grander picture of what's going on in Spider-Man's world in order to kind of really get the full scope, rather than just getting just a single issue thing.
It made it real easy for me as an X-Men fan because I dropped everything but the main line with Hickman. That made it real easy for me.
Oh, sure.
I mean, look, we have to do an entire show. We don't have to. We choose to do an entire show dealing with the satellites.
Yep.
Now that you can see on patreon.com/crawlspace. And the reason why we started doing that is because there was people that were asking about, what our thoughts were on various things. But the problem is we couldn't do that on the show. I mean,
it's way too long.
Well, we would be here 5.5 hours.
Well, I mean, Brad and I did it for the longest time, and before Brad, it was like me and Brad, and I think Kevin did it, and then Zach, I think, did it a few times.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is there came a point when we were doing those satellite shows, and I was like, why the hell am I doing this?
I honestly think they're a lot better now, George, than when you and I and Kevin did it.
Well, I mean, it seems like really the only thing that interests me anymore is Spider-Man. The Marvel universe to me is I don't recognize it outside of Spider-Man right now.
Right.
I just don't.
Here, real quick,
even with the back to basics thing, I don't. That was supposed to have happened a couple of years ago. I don't see it. I just don't.
Real quick, let me get to these comments, and then we'll do cons real quick. Let me read through them real fast. Kindred could be Gabriel Stacy or Sarah Stacy with a vengeance. Kindred is Adam. Venkman says the only reason I'm hesitant about dropping the title is I'm currently less than 25 issues away from having a complete unbroken run of Amazing from 200 to present. That's
no one likes a quitter.
Ryan says Ned makes sense since Betty keeps getting mentioned and Peter is ignoring her.
I could see Ned. I could see it being Ned.
Ned is essentially a plot device.
Ned is a dark horse, I think, on the outside.
And
go ahead.
Making him Kindred would be the equivalent of Bucky being the Winter Soldier.
He was framed for being a villain. Maybe he's just tired of being framed. Maybe
Kindred being Ned would be a lot better than Kindred being Squeezy Bang.
Speaking of Gwen, Anthony says I'm tired of seeing Gwen in modern comics in any capacity. Loved her in back issues, but that's it. The dead needs to stay dead.
Amen.
Adam says Betty was sent to Europe before Hunted. Ryan says comics are expensive. Devil Breaker. In all seriousness, it would be fun to see Kindred be a severed piece of Spider-Man's essence and incarnation. It would be fun to see the metaphor of being your worst enemy taking on a life of its
So it's like Superman 3? Like where Superman
Or
flicking peanuts and the evil Superman's on the bar flicking peanuts and breaking the
Right. I think that's what
glasses.
I kind of
the
think that's what they're
palette
trying to
space.
imply, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, if it is kind of if Kindred is a supernatural entity of some kind, I don't see that really fits. I mean, look at what happened with the whole totem stuff and everything. Even the symbol.
I don't want to go
that
back
stuff,
there.
Yeah, I know, but the supernatural stuff doesn't really fit with Spider-Man. If you kind of
Unless it's
put that
Doctor
in.
Strange showing up like once every couple of years.
Yeah.
Anthony says the books are really expensive. Lots of books I'd like to pick up, but I can't. I have to make a lot of tough choices.
Yeah,
I read an article or something when I was researching for news about how there are just too many comics for the shops to stack or to buy.
Oh yeah.
There's too much diversity of product and a shrinking audience for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, especially since so you got you're getting to a point now where you're kind of getting to where they're really going to have to start seriously thinking about what how to do the floppy format, like the single issue stuff.
Matt's is printing T-shirts. Say I agree with JR.
I'll say this, and Brad, you kind of mentioned how it was, but like the overall product, the Spider line is better.
Yeah, I think
because Spencer's driving the bus with Amazing Spider-Man.
True.
It has affected darn near every other title except for the holdovers from the Slott era, aka Miles and Gwen. Those are consistently middle of the road to the weakest issues of the line. Everything else since Spencer's come on has been absolutely almost it's enjoyable reading, and we're giving a much higher.
It feels like Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Unlike anything Slott did, this feels like Spider-Man still.
Yeah, and it's permeated throughout the entire line to even the side characters, and like the only time in this new incarnation that we've given Fs has been for Abrams Man. So,
oh gosh,
so you're welcome for not reading. Well, you're welcome for reading that pile of garbage, so you don't have to.
All right, let's get to these cons. They're not gonna get to themselves.
Anthony says all the books, X books, are bi-monthly. Killer on the wallet. Yes, indeed.
Yep, indeed.
Okay, cons. George, what's your cons?
All right, so biggest con here. Well, the biggest con, but not really. But yeah, we got Stegron related stuff, but there's no Stegron. If I open a box of Stegronos and I pour the Stegronos in my bowl, I want Stegronos to appear. I want to see that.
Listen, I don't want to be Stegron tea.
It was like oops all. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like oops all, and it was just all like the crunchy bits and the marshmallows.
Yeah, the crunch berries, like the Captain Crunch.
Yeah, yeah. I want to see the marshmallow Stegron. I just don't want the puffed up rice. I want the marshmallow Stegron. If you're gonna have Stegron,
listen.
Throw the Stegron in the book. No, I don't want to listen to you. You're gonna say something horrible.
Other cons around the horn. Anything else?
No. I'm not done with my cons.
Oh, sorry.
Jesus.
He was just getting warmed up, Brad.
He was talking about cereal. I thought he tapped out. Okay.
No, that was one of my cons. The Kindred story is interesting. I mean, we've all spent a lot of time wondering who Kindred is. It's a big mystery. Yeah. We've likened it to the fact that it's organic, and it reminds us in some ways a lot of the Hobgoblin mystery from the 80s, which a lot of us loved. It has felt like it's gone on too long. A lot of it because some of these stories, some of Kindred's overarching story has been interrupted by other things. But here's my thing with the Kindred story. It's getting stale.
Yeah.
Because even with the Hobgoblin mystery, there were times when Hobgoblin and Spider-Man still went at it.
Yeah.
This Kindred dude needs to get his hands dirty.
I know he's all behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, and starting to, in that sense, I'm starting to get it's starting to feel a little worn.
And is Spider-Man even aware of his existence?
No.
So
he still isn't.
That's a problem.
It's not like they're building up towards something like, he meets him and then he runs into him a time or two or whatever. Like George was saying, you had with the Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
But this is Spider-Man's still everybody's completely unaware of his existence. Except Norman.
It's something that needs to get a little more hands-on between the main antagonist and Spider-Man, or it needs to wrap the hell up pretty soon.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Ashley?
What, Ashley?
I don't think we're getting to any of that quite soon, so we're probably going to be in there for a while longer, because it looks like the route they're going is that he he summons these, he resurrects these old characters, and then we'll be acting through them. So like Sin Eater will probably confront Spider-Man, but like as Kindred's little.
Yeah.
Well, if we're not going to get a conclusion anytime soon, or like a revelation of at least who it is, if we're not going to come to the climax of the story, then Spider-Man and Kindred need to start mixing it up personally.
Yeah, true.
This is getting stale. It's getting a little.
I think that we're getting to the point, and I think it may have been McNulty. And I know I mentioned it. I really think by issue 850, which is not too far away, which is a couple of months from now, I think we're going to start getting some big revelations and things like that. It just feels like that's what they're building towards. The 50th issue of this volume.
Yeah. 50th issues might be my guess too. Yeah.
That's a pretty big run overall, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
So I think that I'll make a McNulty-like prediction.
Okay.
And say that issue 850 will reveal who Kindred is. And we'll start, because right now we're just in this. George is right. We're in kind of this holding pattern. We get in these dropped hints and drops things there, and because of it being interrupted by things like the Absolute Carnage event and the 2099 stuff, we need to get to it. We need to get some more things to gnaw on or chew on. And that's been something that we just haven't had. So I liked the reveal. I thought the artwork was good. I really didn't give any pros or cons, but that's my only con is that I feel like we haven't gotten enough to gnaw on and chew on.
One thing I've been looking at is that last panel of this issue. If you look, Otley drew Sin Eater with like muscular legs and lots of muscles. If you look over at Kindred, it's more of a feminine figure.
That's why I'm thinking.
I haven't really thought about her Kindred being a girl until Mike just said it. Do you guys think Kindred's a girl?
Joyce Delaney.
They're making it so that the possibility exists.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that it could throw the I mean, I know I was saying maybe Carly Cooper initially first, but now I'm thinking maybe the Gwen Squeezy Bake thing has actually some merit, would be kind of like scary. But
a non-goblin powered Harry Osborn would make sense too, because
well, that's the thing. We haven't seen Harry throughout this whole entire thing.
We haven't. Yeah,
I mean, but we know he's alive, and we don't know exactly why would he suddenly be doing this now?
Now, JR, I got another name to throw out at you. Emily Osborn.
Oh,
how would you react?
I think Emily Osborn is one of those characters that should be conveniently forgotten. I was about to say that's another debate for another time.
Yeah.
That was an utterly stupid. Let's have this shocking revelation just for shock. No plan to no long-term plan for the character or whatever, and plus Emily being alive, it kind of upsets the whole Norman's own background. It just her being alive kind of throws a wrench into that. So it's no.
Anthony in YouTube chat says George Stegron's an amazing Mary Jane. So he's over on the West Coast right now. So Stegron can't be involved in the New York event.
Barryman, we can't hear you. You're talking.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
I thought you were muttering under your breath this whole time.
All right. Any other thoughts on this issue before we move on?
Did JR give cons?
JR in cons?
Well, no, I didn't, but I'll give a quick con. Personally, I think this clairvoyant story is boring. One, it keeps bringing this Jamie Dudd and all those other losers. Who cares about any of those people? They're all losers. And of all people who should know, come on. I mean, Spider-Man has. You don't do things like that. It's like George said. It's a monkey's paw. Something's going to go wrong, and you'd think that the one person who understood that better than anybody would be Peter Parker. That you don't mess with this kind of thing. Because it always comes back and bites you in the ass. So it's a dumb subplot, to be honest.
I think though. I think he will eventually realize. I mean, obviously, eventually it's going to catch up with him. He's going to realize, oh my God, this thing is actually terrible. But I think because it allowed him to get ahead and actually make a social connection and not flake out on somebody, I think he kind of overlooked it. Plus, he was worn out.
Yeah.
I can see why he wasn't thinking too much about it. You know, it was like looking a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah.
Plus, didn't we do like and Spencer even referred to it, but didn't we already have this storyline in Central?
Yeah, that's Civil War II. That is Civil War II. The only difference is
why are we doing this again? You know?
Well, the only difference is supposedly this is, I mean, it's not trying to be, there's an uncertainty principle involved in this thing. So it's not like it's supposed to be like trying to claim like, oh, a 99% assurance thing. But yeah.
That makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if anyone's brought this up yet, but it feels like the whole idea has centered around the that one scene from Infinity War, the movie, where we see Doctor Strange in that moment where he was exploring,
going through all the little.
It feels like this is just kind of a MacGuffin that was drive. Like, hey, what if we had a little device that did what Doctor Strange did in
So
Infinity War?
are you suggesting, Ashley, that Spencer borrowed a plot point from a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie for the comics? Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing.
I mean, like it's. I mean, oh no, I'm just saying
like
that's.
yeah. What if a what if kind of thing? But
yeah, what a quinky dink. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Any other thoughts on this one before we move on to Ashley's?
No, let's move on.
I do want to say real quick that
okay.
For all of the cons about this being dragged out for so long, I think this is the first time where since I came on, where a villain or even a single cohesive storyline has been built up and they've invested in it for so long, rather than it being just another 8-part series after arc after arc after arc, where it's just another villain of the week.
While it is kind of dragging on at this point, at the same time it's still well told.
Yeah,
it's organic. It's built up naturally. It's not beating you over the head with exposition and tropes of, oh, hey, look, this villain killed everyone in the whole universe except for Spider-Man. Oh, it's
doing everything to pretend that it is not being told at a breakneck pace.
Yeah, it's.
Matt Bird asks, what if Kindred is revealed to be Mayday Parker in some way to get back at Norman Osborn, taking her away from her parents?
We're groping in the dark now.
Well, yeah, okay.
We've had the time for it to be a potentially shocking revelation, whereas in Slot's run, we would have these shocking revelations, but without any time to build up anything beyond.
Good point.
Huh. Wow.
Slot's mentality was nothing will ever be the same again.
Okay, Chris Harrison.
Here, let's go around the horn real quick.
Nothing will ever be the same again. Who will Ashley get her rose from Jack?
George,
we're gonna be here until 2 a.m.
George, who's your suspect of Kindred? Let's go around the horn.
I still think it's Harry.
Ashley.
I'm putting my coin in the female bank. It's a girl.
It's a girl. You know what girl? Is it Emily Osborn?
I'm thinking. Oh, I'm TBD.
Okay, JR.
I always thought it was a female because of the way that it angrily reacted when Peter revealed his identity to Felicia.
Yep.
Just like kind of one of those, a woman getting angry because another woman is, being jeopardized or whatever. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. Kindred, I mean, the name suggests more than one, I think, or
Kindred spirit, yeah.
Yep.
Like maybe it's an amalgamation of people that Peter has let down or something, but even then, I don't like. I would almost rather it be revealed that he's a guy in a rubber mask. Frankly,
Zach,
I don't.
Who is it, Zach?
I mean, part of me says Harry, but the Harry Osborn that died in Spectacular 200, not James Franco Harry. And that James Franco Harry was like an entirely different character posing as Harry.
Mike, is it Gwen clone 7.0 or whatever?
I think it's not only is a Gwen Stacy of some sort. I think that all of her so-called powers are basically Mysterio tech. So basically, she's actually using Mysterio's gimmick against him. So,
Another honestly, another alternative to Mysterio would be Mysterio's daughter that was introduced during Ben Riley.
If this all turns out to be like clone crap, I will F this so hard on the grade.
Not a clone, it's a clone created from several different people into one clone.
It's a buffet of clone.
Buff Marshmallow Man of clone.
Adam says, no way it's Harry. He also says maybe it's Jean DeWolf. Jean DeWolf had like a little crush on Spider-Man, so she would be jealous of Mary Jane, etc.
Summoning Cinder? Didn't he kill her?
Yeah, he killed.
Yeah, why would Jean DeWolf bring back Sin Eater? But it's tied in. I don't know.
It's not awkward.
Plus, Jean DeWolf and Sin Eater used to boink.
That's
they
true.
did.
Yeah.
That's
one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why the real identity of the Sin Eater basically killed Jean DeWolf essentially.
Kindred is the burglar.
Oh God!
We're gonna be here till
the hamburger
8 a.m.
Uncle Ben's killer. ASM 839. We've got Spider-Man. It looks like on a craps table. So take me through this one, Ashley.
All right. Well, no Dream Team this time. We've got Nick Spencer with Eben Coelho for art and Brian Reber as the colorist. All right. So this one we kick off with the Jameson storyline where Nora Winters was going to. They call her Nora Roberts in the summary.
Yeah, I saw that.
They do.
Yeah.
So I guess that's
she's the writer. The actual is there a Nora Roberts that writes novels?
Yes, there is.
I think Nora Roberts is Al Roker's wife.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, she writes romance novels.
Yep.
It's a spiral after all.
She does.
All right.
Oh Lord, let me get back here. Okay, so we pick up where
Deborah Roberts
had her little business proposition for him. So we open with Jameson waiting for her outside a building downtown, where he almost gets run over by a kid on a scooter. Where I think anyone who lives in a metropolitan area nowadays can relate to this. If New York is anything like Atlanta now, it's getting overrun by the bird scooters and the Lyft scooters that people just can pick up.
Dude, I totally had one of these Razor scooters as a kid, man.
Oh, they're everywhere now. They're everywhere. Have y'all seen any of them around y'all's cities?
No.
In Seattle. I mean,
I know I've seen them around here.
We get them all over the place in Atlanta. Every time I see one, I take a picture of it and I send it to my dad because he used to live downtown and he hates them. But yeah, so it looks like now Jameson's the next victim of one of these scooters. He learns that this kid, along with several other hooligans in the office, are the actual employees of Nora's new workplace. And before anyone can say, okay, boomer, he's working off on their piercings, the horror of they've got a dog on the desk.
You got a dog on the desk.
It is the ultimate millennial office, and I'm sure there's a fridge stocked with nothing but avocado toast somewhere in there. So while Jameson's being triggered, Nora explains the true genius of what they do. Their entire operation is built off of the clickbait cycle. So she asks around and has her writers, who are just underpaid college freelancers, the true Jameson spirit, has them talk about what they're writing about. And it's things like, oh, Captain America, is he really still part of Hydra? Here's why. And she explains that their true revenue comes from posting sensational headlines, using all the haters to generate buzz, and then ultimately capitalizing on all the outrage.
Yep.
And Daddy Jameson, she explains, was the father of their business model. So yes, apparently in the MCU, not MCU, Jesus, I'm too saying that. In the Marvel Universe, J. Jonah Jameson is behind the origin of clickbait news.
Well, and in the MCU now that he's the Alex Jones of the MCU, so
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she gives him his very first assignment and his chance to get in on this action with the news that Spider-Man's just robbed a bank. However, Jameson is still wanting to stick to his new leaf that he's turned over, where he wants to give Spider-Man the benefit of the doubt, and he's not ready to just go back on that just yet. So he says, both trying to protect Spider-Man's reputation that he's vowed to uphold and also his own journalistic integrity. He grabs the scooter and goes off to do some real reporting himself.
Gumshoe.
Yep.
We cut to Peter, who explains that he's, why he's been caught flying or, swinging around the city with a bunch of bags of cash on him. And it's actually full of counterfeit currency because he and TP have been, who I'm now going to be calling her Teresa Triple Ply Parker because
She's so toilet papery.
Mm-hmm. Have gotten a list of names from the Chameleon from their interrogations, and they're going through and following up to see, what his network is. And in doing so, they found a bank where the one branch of the okay, I know it's Marvel's Mafia. Is it Magia?
Magia.
Magia.
The Magia.
Magia
Basically,
has been
the mob.
depositing or and collecting counterfeit currency in their bank. So he's nabbed some of these bags and he's taking it back for them to analyze. While he's fleeing the scene of the crime, we check in on Sable, who's struggling with her physical therapy. We see her for maybe like all of 5 minutes, and Foreigner's assuring her that, you're first and foremost in my life, you're my love, and every moment apart from you is agony. As we then cut to him, with a couple of chicks on his arm as he's walking around the palace, which is basically steampunk Las Vegas. It's like it's like, what if Columbia, what was it called? Columbia in BioShock Infinite, if instead of being a haven for religious zealots, was a haven for gamblers.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just floats above Manhattan and other places as this kind of underground gambling nexus for people to come and, But the real draw is the sports book, and Chance, the guy running the palace, leads Foreigner back there to show him what this is all about. And this thing puts every Bachelor Fantasy League to shame. Basically, it monitors all superhero activity and allows viewers to bet in real time on the outcomes of the various circumstances they find themselves in. I really liked his categories that it came up with. It's like we have superheroes versus supervillains, superheroes teamed up with other superheroes, superheroes versus the problems they created themselves. I like that.
Even the occasional superhero versus supervillain.
Supervillain,
Yep.
Yeah.
But you don't just bet on the outcome; you bet on various conditions and other factors that can play into the outcome. So, does the hero take down the supervillain, but the supervillain's got a few hits in, or all sorts of different conditions. The Foreigner's impressed, and out of the blue just lays down $10 million on the current fight that they're spectating, which is, wouldn't you know, Spider-Man. And somehow the Foreigner buying in makes Chance release all these drones.
He's far from home.
Yeah, basically. So they just spring up out of the digital ether to keep things interesting. So now Spidey he not only has to dodge the missiles and rockets that the Pluto goons are shooting at him, but also the drones. And as he's struggling, who else but Jameson comes to his rescue in one of my favorite panels I've seen in a long time, as he grabs him away from the missile on the scooter. And so they crash, and Jameson does like a full anime landing on Peter. And as they step up and, brush themselves off, and Peter's like, what are you doing here, dude? Get out of here. You're gonna die. Like, you're just a little meat bag, and they're like bullets and stuff flying around. Jameson is very upset and hurt that Spider-Man was doing this kind of an operation without telling him about it, because as we know, he's the guy in the chair now. So Peter is like, fine, and he explains everything to him and what they're doing. Jonah gets all excited to help, ask what he can do, and Spidey tells him to just go, dude, go. Ultimately, he's able to fight everyone off. The day is saved, all thanks to, as we find out, Jonah, who made his very first clickbait article. Spider-Man just saved us all from a shield cover-up. Here's why. As he excitedly explains to himself, he saved Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite panels of all time.
Except
what?
Except the thing is, they weren't supposed this information. Spidey did not want this information to get out because it was supposedly a top secret.
It was all
supposed to be covert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So TP calls Peter and is like, "Check your phone." My phone. Check my phone. And Jonah's like, "Jonah saves the day." Yeah.
So Ashley, what's your grade on this one?
This is kind of an A+ for me. I just had a really fun time with it.
Okay. George.
I gave this one a B.
JR.
Well, the grade kept dropping the more Ashley described what was going on, so I give it a C-.
Oh man,
A C-? Is that what you said?
C-.
Zach.
A-. Mike.
I gave this a B+, mainly because I thought the intro, the first few pages really spoke to me. Actually,
I didn't dig it as much as Ashley and the rest of you guys. I guess I'm a B- range for me. I didn't feel it. I really didn't feel it.
I will say that it does kind of. There's a part of this issue that I do have a con for that I think I know what it is, why it feels off. But
I would say my rating's not entirely based. I'm not saying it's like a storytelling, but I don't know. Seeing Jonah's just the sheer childlike joy in his eyes at the end just really took this over the top for me.
Right.
I'm happy for him.
What's your big? That was one of your pros. Any other pros, Ashley?
Man. So yeah, mostly I just really like the Jonah stuff. I like, like I said before, I like the way that Spencer channels his character in this. I like the direction that this is establishing, where now Peter's conflict with Jonah isn't going to be based on Jonah trying to undermine him as Spider-Man, but now he's going to be helping him.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I like Jonah being an antagonist of the newspaper so much. I like the Default so much that I'm kind of tired of Zdarsky's Jonah plot. It's a couple of years on.
God, I think that there's a lot more layered stuff you could do. I think. Look, I'm having a blast with. Look, we had 50 freaking years of Jonah being an antagonist. So seeing Jonah, the heart of gold Jonah that is layered in there and being shown in a different light that we only ever saw like when Marla was around, and him trying to do, this is a Jonah that's lost his way, and how do you make Jonah relevant? And I think that what they're trying to do is establish a way of making Jonah relevant in 2020.
And I mean, he's still going to function as an antagonist. He's going to be working against Peter, but his motivations are different now.
Right.
So it's kind of like a hidden antagonist.
It's an antagonistic side that is accidental.
And here, and just to leap off of your point, Zach, and go to Brad's point a little bit about because I think it's kind of, they both kind of tie in. I mean, the thing that was the Jonah stance. It's symptomatic what happens with Brand New Day, because in Brand New Day, they were very aware of the idea that, well, how can you still have Peter Parker be a photographer if everyone's got a smartphone and can take pictures? So what they ended up doing was, they gave the Bugle Beta Destructive newspaper, then they blew it up. We had that Dexter Bennett guy and everything and all that nonsense. But what it ended up doing is, well, how does Jonah he was one of the best supporting characters in Spider-Man's cast. How do you still make him be involved? Because you can't have him be real if you can't have Peter be a photographer. How do you have him interact with Jonah? Hence why we had him he's working for the mayor's, Jonah becoming the mayor, or Jonah becoming Peter's, step brother sort of. And now we have the thing Jonah knowing Peter's identity. So I think in this way that Spencer is trying to kind of okay, we're going to take the same thing that Jonah's basically is kind of being the newsman but now we're going to flip the script in the sense that, okay, here he is trying to help Spider-Man, but he's still making Peter's life a mess, even with good intentions. Yeah.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions, is the old saying. And that's definitely Jonah in a nutshell right now. And look, if they had done stuff with Jonah as the mayor, it just felt like it was something that they gave Jonah to do, and it really wasn't, helping advance a story at all. And considering that the entire mayoral race was done literally off world, because there was that Fantastic Four story that they were in the microverse for like 8 weeks or whatever. So there's more they could have done with Jonah as mayor, but they just never developed it. It was just, oh, hey, and here's a shock, Dan Slott style, Jonah's the mayor. And so like, again, I think that one thing I'm going to say is that at least with the Jonah plot, Brad, that was the best part of the Zdarsky spectacular run, and taking that and bringing it into Amazing Spider-Man was a good thing. I got some other pros if Ashley's not done yet.
I did want to kind of continue off of what Mike was saying about this being a good new direction to take Jonah in and makes him more relevant right now, instead of just being very stuck in the past. I think something that Spencer's done really skillfully is use these timestamps to show, this is Spider-Man and the, 2020 Spider-Man, in the current age that we're living in. And it's addressing these, Lord, what am I trying to say? Just the things that we live with in our everyday lives, like clickbait news and, the way that the entire journalism industry has changed and
very much
millennial workplaces. And it's just addressing these in a way that it's not the point of it. It's just like, this is the setting. So it's nice to see how he does that without it becoming really cringy the way,
a Slott or Zdarsky would have made it. And I think addressing and making Jonah the accidental architect of clickbait in the 616 Marvel universe is kind of genius, because he was a bit of a yellow journalist with his editorial page.
Right.
The Daily Bugle was a great, paper because you had Robbie dealing with everything but the editorial side.
Yeah.
And that's why I enjoyed the first issue of the Daily Bugle series that they just came out with, as a result of that, making, it being a by the book newspaper. A couple of other pros for me. I love Chance. Chance is kind of one of those bad villains that's
so you're the one.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
It's like James Bond meets betting and super villainy. He's, he was fun. He's not a character that I want to see like all the time, but it's been so long since we've seen him. It's kind of fun. And the fact that he's running a Vegas style like boat or whatever, or casino, is kind of genius if you're going to do that with Chance. I also like the fact that Speed Demon from Superior Foes, and obviously Speed Demon's a previously established character, but that he's a card dealer and he's like dealing the cards real fast.
I missed that.
The background characters were like made it for me, like MODOK. Like you had, you had all these villains, like Mr. Sinister is like, and MODOK's kind of like looking behind his hand, like, what are you trying to do, Sim? So to me, the absurdity of a supervillain casino and them using the sports book aspect of it was really kind of a fun little a fun story. So that's why
world building.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the sports book is like the most original idea. I really like seeing things like it because it just makes us feel like, yeah, there's superheroes in this setting, and this is what people would do with it. This is how it would play out in their everyday lives. We see that with people on the street, with superheroes, with villains. I like that Spencer explores this from so many different angles, and it makes it feel more organic.
There was a storyline in the 90s, and this is where I can tell that I think Spencer has read extensive and exhaustive amount of Spider-Man. There was a storyline in the 90s called The Great Game, which was basically
Oh God.
the Spider-Man. What if supervillains did Mortal Kombat? And there was also a wager aspect where like various people, including Jonah, had their avatars and they were literally killing each other. And Jonah's avatar, of course, was Spider-Man, but he didn't want anybody to know about it. And so eventually this was wrapped up at the end of the Clone Saga. But this kind of is that spiritual successor to it a little bit, where, you know, wealthy and not so wealthy supervillains can come in and try to gamble and make money, and using the sports book aspect is kind of fun. And I think it's something that's it's something different, and that's and it's not something different for the sake of something different. And that's where I felt like Slott was always trying to do something different for the sake of something different. With Spencer, it's something different, and it just gives a different part of the world a little bit more color.
Yeah, we're seeing like how do they not only, you know, how are these people, what are they scheming, what schemes are they breaking up, how do they live their everyday lives? And we kind of saw that in the last issue too, with that what the supervillain reality TV show they were watching. Just little things like that are fun nods.
And you know, that's kind of a spiritual successor to Superior Foes. I mean, Superior Foes was like, what do the supervillains do on the day off? And you know, what stupid harebrained schemes that Fred comes up with and tries to drag the rest of the foes in. This is kind of that same grouping, and I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, because I got when I get Superior Foes vibes, Spencer, it's like a good, you know, double stacked peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Silvermane's head is one of the best supporting characters in all of
in history of comics.
George, what was your grade on this one again?
I give this a B.
Okay, what's pros out of you?
I like the stuff between Jonah and Nora at Threats and Menaces. I enjoyed that. I like seeing all these, you know, all these new age hoodie wearing hipster slacker journalists, you know, sitting around. At one point, they're playing like some kind of Marvel versus Capcom video game. It looked like in the office.
Jonah reacting to all that was gold.
I like the Jonah versus like, you know, like the new generation kind of thing. I mean, technically that is the essence of Jonah. Jonah should be railing against whatever new generation.
And I like too, they showed like, even though there's so much different, really the practices haven't changed at all, because, you know, just the way that Jonah, how he always underpaid Peter for his work.
Yeah.
I'll give you $50 and you'll like it.
And I like that, you know, Jonah initially was like, well, it's not, you know, this, and, or maybe that was last issue, I can't remember, but Nora said something, you know, along the lines of, you know, you created a villain for just to have a story.
Yeah.
And Jonah was like, yeah, but I didn't have a list of villains. And that was funny, I thought. I like the stuff with Jonah and Spidey. I still enjoy the whole thing of Jonah knowing and trying to help Peter.
Right.
I was always in the camp that thought that if Jonah was to find out, he would be white hot mad for a while, but then his affection towards Peter, which he has shown in Jonah ways, in Jonah fashion for many years, would win over his hatred of Spider-Man. For Spider-Man, that's a double-edged sword now. Yeah. Because Jonah's a little too eager to try to make things right and help out, and now it's, you know, causing some problems. I like Spidey Dude. I liked Chance the Palace, and that they're betting on Fight Club. Just like my Fight Club dream. I was like, oh my god, like I'd never leave this lounge.
I didn't think about that. That is Fight Club.
If Berryman ever revived Fight Club, I could see Berryman channeling Chance as the Grand Poobah instead of Shang-Chi.
I would do like, it's not. I mean, that's.
Well, I mean,
let's not get too crazy.
Berryman written Shang-Chi is one of the best written things on the internet. But you know, I could see Chance being the spiritual successor to Shang-Chi is what I'm saying.
But I would just be sitting there like doing dollar bets. I'd never leave the lounge. I'd just keep drinking free drinks and watching, you know, people beat ass all day. That's all I would do. So those are my pros.
I didn't even think about that. That is the Marvel Universe equivalent of Fight Club.
It's more evidence that Spencer listens to us.
It's almost as if Spencer's like not only listened to us, but he's visited the website and like looked at our history.
He was probably fighting in Fight Club under a different name. that we
He's
never
Thrawn.
know about.
Funny.
Yes, yeah. Nick Spritzer was Thrawn. There you go. There you go. He was part of. Yeah, he was behind the Thrawn slot.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
funny.
Save Revelations.
Other pros before we move on to cons. Who else would like to talk? Oh,
JR
JR.
is brimming with
JR, you got to have some cons. What's up?
Or are we talking
I mean,
about pros?
pros.
Or
I'm
cons?
sorry, pros. You got to have some pros.
No, the same as everybody else. I liked Jonah's commentary on the vacuousness and emptiness of the younger generation. That's always entertaining.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, I wanted the one other pro. I actually like this artwork as a fill-in artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It feels like a Patrick Gleason clone, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Ashley, your cons. You gave it an A+. There isn't many.
There aren't many. I'd say the one con is just that we're still on this Teresa Parker storyline.
Yeah.
And also for some, like we were just talking about the art, which the art was good for this issue, except Teresa Parker looks like she's very, very, very young. She suddenly looks 14.
Yeah.
She looks like a Barbie Kitty Pryde. But yeah, just seeing every time I see her come up, I'm just like, why are we still on the Teresa Parker train?
Yeah.
I'm scared to die, literally.
To get on your point, Ashley, too. As much as I thought the Chance's Fight Club was and the whole gambling thing was great, I would have preferred that to be a story of its own because I kind of felt like with the Jonah stuff and this and the betting thing, and then you got the Teresa thing, it kind of felt like it didn't really fit. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like it would be a lot of setup. Like, hey, we're throwing this in here. We'll make use of it later. But here we're establishing it and kind of setting it up. So
yeah, it just didn't really. I mean, I would have liked to have seen the fight, the chances, like the villains betting on supervillain fight scenes. I would like to have seen that to be like its own separate thing rather than just kind of crammed into this because it seems like it definitely has, of course, that superior foes vibe about it. But I mean, it just feels like. Maybe you should make that a kind of a separate thing rather than trying to get to all the stuff.
I do feel like that this is like a setup for post. Like we'll explore this more, the space more once we get past the Kindred stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that this is the seeding of it,
right?
Because I think that's one thing that I felt like with Spencer is that he tends to seed things, months in advance, like how they used to back in the day, like in the 80s and the up until the 90s. And so that's kind of what I feel with this. Like we'll come back to this year later.
So I can't use it now, but let's just go ahead and put it here because they're just space for it.
To me, it's an effective one shot because yes, it doesn't build off of what happened last issue. It was like bam, you had this big reveal and you didn't pay it off the next issue because that payoff's coming in March. So I just feel like right now there is a lot of good work that went into this, and I feel like that it's going to pay off maybe after 850.
Cool.
Okay.
Any that was all pros. Cons.
Well, that was kind of one of my cons, actually.
Okay.
That was because I felt like it's just too crammed in, with
Let's turn it over to JR. He should unload.
JR should brag on it.
JR, go ahead.
Well, again, the Teresa Parker stuff, what's the point? I mean, she pops up and gives Spidey a mission, I mean, is that her function now? I mean, that's and the Foreigner has always bored me. International assassins are a dime a dozen these days, and then you talk about this whole thing with the gambling on superhero fights and stuff. Well, not only did we see that in the Great Game, we saw that in a 3-part Zeb Wells story at the end of one of the runs of Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yes, he did.
We saw a variation of it just a year or so ago in that Hunted, where rich people picked out avatars or whatever, and went and got involved in the fights themselves or whatever. So this is a really moldy subplot. I see absolutely nothing interesting about it. Didn't follow up on last issue, like I was kind of saying. Last issue we get this great cliffhanger. Oh boy, wait to see where we go from there. We don't go anywhere. Just stuff like that. I mean, it was just. Just a lot of things that I don't like and I'm not interested in, and a lot of, like I said, the subplots are, nothing new. So, and plus, I don't understand the fascination with the foreigner. I don't get it. I don't get why people like this character. It's a boring character. So
because it's an excuse to bring Silver Sable back into the book, because apparently they're kind of trying to.
I can hardly wait till we get more scintillating stories about the politics of Karia. Who really?
I'll take 5 things that JR hates for 500, Alex.
Adam Winchell says JR hates everything, and Enigma goes, "Yeah, ain't it great?" And Adam goes, "Yeah, it is pretty great. JR hates everything." Adam says someone on the message board said that it's like Teresa Parker is like Mockingbird in the book, bossing Peter around.
It's like that, but with less emotional abuse
and no romance, for thank goodness, because that would be really
weird.
Web Century says JR brings nothing but the gospel. There you go. Look at you,
my son.
JR could do no wrong. Any other comments on these 2 books before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I haven't given my cons at all.
Oh, go ahead, George. Go ahead. Cons.
Like everyone else, though, I'm in the same boat with Teresa. Teresa is what dragged this down for me. I just don't. I'm not interested in Teresa. To me, Teresa's like JR says. This book didn't offend me. To me, Teresa's a little offensive.
Yeah.
What I feel like Teresa's going to end up being.
I don't care. I'm giving my cons. All right. So to me, Teresa's a little offensive, and I mean, if Kindred wants to win points with me, Kindred could kill Teresa.
I'm going to bring that up. I kind of feel like
that would be fantastic.
Yes.
Kindred could kill Teresa, and then you could have the big sad moment, and then we can see
we move on.
We can see what kind of a friend Jonah is, and Aunt May be like, "Oh, Peter, what's wrong?" Because how does Peter tell her, "Oh, you had a niece you never knew, and she's dead now," and Peter
she could be one of the new floating heads of guilt.
Yeah,
so wait a minute.
A lot of good could come from this
George,
completely empty, boring character's death.
So wait a minute, George. Are you saying that Teresa Parker is the new Jay Jameson?
No,
I don't know. I mean, at least Jay had a couple of redeeming qualities about him. Teresa's just boring AF to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get it. I'm just not into it at all. I'm just not.
It feels like a really forced effort to create a leading support. Well, not leading, but like a supporting female character to have more women in the comic.
You know what you could do there, Spencer, is no longer have Teresa Parker show up, but maybe have Betty Brant, or I mean, you brought the rotting corpse that was Carly Cooper back for reasons. Why not?
If Kindred kills off Carly Cooper and Teresa, you'll see an O face when we do the review on that.
Mr. McMahon like O face.
Oh God.
Okay, any other cons before we wrap it up? All right, final thoughts, Ashley.
It was really hard for me to catch up on reading comics this time. This is really embarrassing. I've been reading a lot of manga, and so for like the first few issues I was reading, I kept reading it right to left instead of left to right.
What the?
I got really
That's how you read
confused.
manga. Because it goes. Yep.
We needed you on that one on the Satellites episode where we were forced to read that manga crap that somebody asked for, and I had no idea what was going on, and I was so confused.
That's how I felt.
Maybe you were reading it left to right, like I was trying to read these comics right to left.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt during Slod's entire run. Like it had the pace.
I'm reading it wrong.
It had the pace of manga, but at the same time, it had like 24 times the dialogue.
Exactly.
George, final thoughts.
No, I'm raring to get to this news.
Mike, final thoughts.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that we get something about this Kindred thing, and kind of like, come on, Spencer. I mean, you don't want to be the next, I mean, just because we're saying that this is like the Hobgoblin Mystery, do you want to make it like the Hobgoblin Mystery, where we have to wait 2 years to find out? Yeah. Oh, it's some guy, only to turn out, oh no, it was actually this other guy this whole time. Right.
Zach, final thoughts.
Next episode, we're gonna be covering news, or we're either doing a Friday Night Fight, or it's a story time with JR. One of the three. You can edit it from there, Douglas.
JR, final
place your
thoughts
bets now.
Boy, I sure hope that issues number 39 and 40 are a hell of a lot more interesting than 37 and 38.
All right, what a downer.
You should have always dark and messed up.
I know. So YouTube and Facebook, all 24 of you, we'll be back in about 10 minutes. We'll start the live stream back up. We're going to review Spider News, or we're going to talk about Spider News. We've got several topics. We haven't done a Spider News. I looked, and we haven't done one since October.
Oh my God.
It's been a long time since we did Spider News. I remember it because I had a Halloween topic and George made fun of me. So I said, we're done for 2019. I'm done.
Well, we had Spider Jeopardy. We had the gift exchange.
I know. There's several things that have happened.
And Brad's like, no, we're not adding any more extra shows. We're just going to do the full.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
sign off for a second.
I will give you a link in 10 minutes. All right. Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye, Brad.